Conventions is something I've been going to for about almost 5 years now. And at conventions, you can do multiple stuff like cosplay, buy art, buy toys, buy games. But the most important part is seeing the guests and getting signatures. Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come where I previously said in my last haul video that I will be showing off all my signed Funko Pops. And that time is here. In front of me, I have over 10 Pops. I think the number's about 17. And we have a special guest Pop coming through. But without further ado, let me list off the prompts that we'll be doing within this video so that it flows, it has that fluidity, that easiness. This is gonna be a long video where I will be yapping and telling stories about my Pops. So if that's not for you, you can go ahead and exit out the door. Thank you. We have four and no more prompts. We're gonna show the Pop, obviously. We're gonna say where and who signed the Pop. We're gonna give you all the pricing, if I remember, I'm not good with numbers, the pricing of how much I paid for this Pop, and just the overall experience and story that goes within the Pop signature aspect. So this one, I'm giving you a 3-way combo because they were all signed by the same person. And fun fact, this was actually my first Pop. So I can see we have Vegeta, we have Kuwabara from Yu Yu Hakusho, and we have Piccolo, also from Dragon Ball Z. This is special. This is my first Pop. I got this at Fan Expo 2021. I believe every single one of these was $60, maybe less. This was my first Pop. Christopher Sabat voices Vegeta. Piccolo, he voices Yamcha in Dragon Ball Z. Kuwabara in Yu Yu Hakusho. He voices Snake in Vinland Saga. All Might. He voices so many people. Zoro in One Piece. But obviously I had to go with the King Ball Saiyans Vegeta. This was the Pop I had at the time. I have better ones due to the fact that he said, let's add some color to this ugly Pop. Thought it was hilarious. Other people probably would have got mad. Other people would have probably called him an a-hole. But nah, man, this is special. This is the first one. Vegeta, training. Next, the Piccolo one. The Piccolo one is missing an arm. Hilarious, man. Like I said, this was the second year we met him. He put "God Arm" as the quote, his signature. With Kuwabara, he did the impression at the table. I always love when voice actors do that. He talks about like the resurgence that not even the resurgence, that how much the fans keep this show alive and that he's still able to like you know, portray this role at the tables. And it was like one of his first voice acting roles back in like the day. I'm not gonna say the 80s because I don't want to make him sound old, but I believe this was the year after. We had a streak going before he stopped coming in 2024. We had a nice little streak going. So yeah, I want to say this was 2023 Fan Expo. Just to show them off one more time. Boom, all signed by Christopher Sabat. Next here, I have Miles Morales from the PS4, PS5 Spider-Man games. Funko Pop signed by Najee Jeter, I believe his name is. This was at LibertyCon 2023. I stayed for the whole weekend. Not only he, but his management was also cool. We talked about Philly. We talked about how I prefer his Miles Morales over the Spider-Verse ones, but that's just me. This was about $60, maybe less. I don't believe he was on the expensive side like some of the other stuff we're gonna see. But yeah, like I said, really cool guy. Great experience. I believe he was my first Spider-Man Pop. And just like throughout the whole weekend, he made sure to like say hi to me or ask how I was doing, came to the booth. So yeah, very cool dude, great experience. Keeping the theme of Spider-Man going, I have this Valentine's Day exclusive Spider-Man Pop that I was able to get signed by Yuri Lowenthal. Yuri Lowenthal voices Spider-Man in the video games, some of the Marvel cartoons, not only just the PS4 and PS5 video games, he also voices in Marvel Rivals. If you're familiar, fun fact, this was the first time he said he ever seen a Pop like this. And although he does thwip on most of the boxes, he gave me little hearts just to fit the theme. Very cool guy. Very like, I want to say light in nature, if that makes sense. Not too super energetic, but just the right amount. Open to have conversation. Yeah, it was a really quick experience. He was one of those that were expensive. I believe he was $75, max $80. Something little more recent. I showed this off with my LibertyCon haul video if you haven't seen that already. But this was signed by Dallas Reed at LibertyCon 2025. Like I said, fairly recent. It was earlier this month, if I'm not mistaken. I believe the 8th I went, if not the 9th. Dallas Reed, he managed everything, which I was very impressed with. I believe it was $40. It was very, like, I was expecting it to be more, if not, like I said, standard 60. We talked about swords, we talked about just the character development of Asta. As you can see, he quoted it, he signed it, he drew something on it. Just a great experience. I don't know any other voice acting credits that he does, but impressive nonetheless. And it was fairly quick to get in his line as well. Following up the recent trend of that, LibertyCon 2025, once again, signed by Teddy Sears. I believe I paid $60 for this, one of those surprising cheap ones as well. He played Zoom in season 2 of The Flash, one of those peak seasons. It was, I don't know why I quoted it, but you know, I watched the whole show, so. As you can see, he decked out the box, quoted his famous line from the show. I'm not gonna do the voice, can't lock up the darkness. He was someone I really like talking to because he really has a love for the game. I gave him a piece of art that he really liked. He said he's been trying to get stuff for his trailer. But like just diving into like how he really loves doing this. He says he could be with the crew more and just loves feeding into the nostalgia and how this was almost like a decade ago and he's still able to be recognized for it. It was a good time. Following up with the theme of The Flash, we have the Reverse Flash, season 1 through 8, really, season 1 through 9 villain. He never left, honestly. Villain for Edge of Tomorrow, Legends, whatever it was called. This was signed by Tom Cavanaugh, not the other portrayal of the Reverse Flash, the main one throughout the whole season pretty much. We talked about the Council of Wells and how hard that is to explain for someone trying to get into the show or someone who just like got to that scene. So it really got a good laugh at him. As you can see, he put Reverse Flash here, his signature. He told me to keep trying to explain it the best I can to people that he greatly appreciated. I believe this was one of the expensive ones as well, $70, $80. There's only one pop I ever paid more than $100 for, which I'll probably show next. Special guest time, special guest time. This is one of her only signed pops, so I will let her do the honors of introducing herself and following our 4 prompts. They're listed over there if you need them. All right, go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Luz, his wife, and this is the Funko Pop that I got signed. I got it at Fan Expo 2024, and it's my Dwight Schrute Pumpkinhead Funko Pop that was signed by Rainn Wilson. I don't have a super long story about him because I was really nervous, but something that a lot of people don't know is he was in Monsters vs. Aliens as Galactar, and I asked him about how he got into the voice acting role, and he basically told me it was just a side quest that he was on, so I thought that was really interesting.
Monster vs. Aliens, 2009. Since then, his voice acting roles have been spotty, but Dwight Schrute, man, eat your beats. Thank you, Luz, for coming through. We have here Krillin from Dragon Ball Z, signed by Sonny Strait at this year's Fan Expo 2025. I don't remember how much this costs. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna say somewhere in the middle. Let's say 65. But this is one of my favorite pops to date, just cause like he decked out the whole box. Look at that. Look at that. He maybe it's better right there. Boom. Look. He even drew Krillin on the side. He does his own art. He also voices Bardock in Dragon Ball Z and a bunch of different anime characters. I believe Usopp in the English dub for my One Piece fans out there. Next to him was the voice actor for Whis, Ian Sinclair. As you can see, he signed it and did a little Whis symbol like he tagged Goku and Vegeta in the anime. Once again, I believe this was 60. Gave him a drawing that he displayed right in front of his table. A man who loves humor. This guy loved to laugh, which is, you know, I naturally flow with that. I love to laugh. He was there talking to people. I really appreciate when a voice actor actually like sits down and talks with his fans. Was Trunks Briefs, played by Eric Fowl. As you can see, he just signed it. This is one of those experiences where it's like, like I get it, but come on, man. He was late from his panel. That's how I was able to get, you know, Ian, Sonny signed. But he was late to his panel. We didn't talk much. I don't believe so. I talked about how I used his "This is for Gohan" at the time for like voice training. Showed him off a Shigaraki drawing. I believe I don't know if I gave him something that I drew. I believe I did. But I'm like unclear on that. I don't remember drawing anything Trunks, so I might be spotty on that. But it was just like him being late. We didn't have much of a connection at the table. I believe this one was 80. Like I think this was one of the expensive ones too. For Gohan, Kyle Hebert. This was also Fan Expo 2025, just like the other Dragon Ball Z pops I showed you. These were also 2025. Kyle Hebert, man. This guy, when I tell you, is probably one of the most nicest people I ever met. People were waiting in line. He got out of line and make sure, like, you know, just not. I don't want to say apologize because it's stronger, but like, you know, I'm sorry you had to wait this long. Nice to meet you. Shaking their hands. You know, just having that interaction before you even get to the table shows a lot about your character. And like, he had these cool shirts. I believe the day that I saw him, he was wearing like this Old Man Logan shirt. We talked about Gohan and how like this version was kind of like my favorite when Goku was trying to calm him down when Videl was getting cooked by Spopovich in the tournament. I chose Justice as the quote because although people do not like the Great Saiyaman, myself, he's still very entertaining. And we talked about how we wish that he would have had more time in like superhero to exploit that Great Saiyaman aspect, since it is called Dragon Ball Superhero. But I believe I gave him a piece of art too. We took a picture with it. I'll show it right here. Overall, like I said, nice guy. I believe this was $60. I don't think I might have paid more for the quote. I don't think I did. I can confirm that this is the last Dragon Ball Z pop that I have signed. Not that I have in general. I have a lot of Dragon Ball Z pops. But as you can see, this was signed by the voice actor Tien. Unfortunately, I do not have a story for this. This was gifted to me by my sister. I greatly appreciate it. Look at that. In the plastic, Funko protector, signed. She knows what I like. She's an avid fan of Dragon Ball as well. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I have no story for this. Besides that it was gifted to me. Don't know how much it was. But if you have ever met the voice actor, let me know. How was your experience? This is signed by Roger Craig. This was 2023 as well, Fan Expo. Roger Craig Smith plays Sonic, Ezio, Captain America, and some of the cartoons, video games. This was a very good time. We had a pretty lengthy conversation. Super nice guy. As you can see, he quoted my box. Crazy. This was actually a voice line here I had to pull up because obviously the man does a lot of work. Mirage is a character whose mother suffers from I believe Alzheimer's or like dementia, and he's slowly gaining that too, starting to forget stuff. The quote is I got this in the box. or is it in the bag? Either way, I'm gonna win. Like, just those small touches of his character is something we talked about a lot. I did smear it a little bit, you know. At the time, I did not know you were supposed to let these dry, but you know, I learned. Great conversation. Rocket Treg Smith. I believe I paid. The number's always going to be between 60 and 80, guys. At this point, like I said, I'm not good with numbers. This is my most expensive pop. I'm giving you a little preview. See that? This pop, very special to me. I love telling this story. This pop is signed by John, the wrestler, the actor, Peacemaker. I paid $200 to see this man. When I'm telling you, I'm lucky I buy VIP. I'm lucky I buy VIP because the first 3 pops I shown by Christopher Sabat, I had waited an hour and a half in line. This man went to go do a panel, I had to wait. After that, 2021, I said I'm never doing this again. I've been buying VIP since. And VIP allowed me to see John Cena in 20 minutes when there was a line, I'm telling you, from wall to wall of the convention center. I only had to wait 20 minutes. $200, had a quick conversation with John, told him how he's an inspiration to me just as Spider-Man is. But with the icing on the cake is that this man, you would expect a big yoked man like John Cena, wrestler, to have rough calluses and stilled hands. But this man's hands were as soft as a baby's bottom. I need to know what lotion he used till this day. To this day. So John, thank you for your time, as quick as it was. I know you're a busy man. Thank you for coming to Philadelphia. I wasn't lying. This is me as a pop. As you can see, that's my name, Isaiah. For people who didn't know, I do go by Zay, Plugman. But this is me as a pop. I can see the glasses. I do wear glasses, long hair, the beard and stole, sweatsuit, because I'm wearing gray sweats as we speak. Put me on with a gray hoodie. This is me personified. I signed it everywhere. I did the paint pen, and then as like little shadows, little characteristics, I signed it with regular marker just to give that, you know, blended in texture with it. The paint pen for the overall signature. You can make these yourselves. Funko Pop does it on the website, unless you go to California to the headquarters. But this is me. Any questions like why I collect Funko Pops? How many Funko Pops do I have? How many more do I plan to get signed? Who's my dream signing? I will answer all that. If you want it in a separate video, yes, but most likely in the comments. So feel free to ask those questions. I realized that I have 2 more that I did not put in the original video. So this is post-editing Zay, about to show you these 2 pops that I missed, even though I already said like that was it. So I have about 20 now, 20 pops that are signed, and let me get to the first one. So the first forgotten pop that I have is an Ichigo pop signed by Johnny Young Bosch, the English voice actor for Ichigo. I used the hollow version of Ichigo and not the regular one, just cause like this is way cooler. I don't remember the conversation that we had, honestly. I know I talk about with Ichigo a lot about how I love his perseverance as a character. But I don't think we talked about anything more than that. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't remember this experience all like that. Pricing as well. Like I said, it's either 60 or 80. I only went above for one. So, Johnny Young Bosch, Ichigo signed pop. Second pop that I forgot was The Undertaker, the dead man, Mark Calloway himself. He is a legend within the WWE for the gimmick that he chose over throughout the 30 years of his career, staying that phenom, that unnatural being. I got to meet him at WrestleCon. WrestleMania 40 was in Philly. And I was glad to not only experience that, but WrestleCon as well, where I got to meet The Undertaker. It was on a Saturday. I waited in a hell of a line. But nonetheless, we talked about my experience as a child, how I grew up in a Spanish household, and I was watching wrestling in Spanish originally. So like the first time I heard it in English, it was surprising because I'm like, yo, what's wrong with the TV? But from there, that's where the English speaking started more. Watching English media, and here on out, it's been in English. So that made him laugh and shook his hand, and I believe that was it. Like I said, the line was long. Yeah, The Undertaker. I most likely paid more than $90 for that. I'm gonna stick with 90, but I think it was a little more. It's The Undertaker. So, thank you for your patience on this video. I know I announced it about a week or two ago, but as I said, if you have any questions, ask them below. I thank you for your time. I encourage you to get signatures, to have something to remember, have memorabilia, nostalgia, memory, what do you call those? Stuff that are like, not keepsakes, but you know, there's a word for it. Sentiment, something with sentimental value. Yes, you shall obtain in your life. I hope you do. The Funko Pops are obviously mine. And yeah, thank you for watching. Like I said, answer those questions if you want. I thank you for your time. This has been Plugman. I'm taking myself out the socket. Thank you.